Hello everybody, today we're doing a build review for Paul. He sent me his updated companion build. I think this is a pretty good idea. What he's doing here is he meshed Earthern Bulwark in with the companion skill, so it's kind of an Earthern Bulwark plus Zoop plus companion stuff. It's like an Earthern Bulwark companion variant, I would say. Pretty good. You're still able to run all five of these. I definitely think this is probably one of the, if you want to like push on a Druid and be able to actually do 80s or 90s like comfortably, I think this is probably a pretty sweet setup for it. I mean, ultimately, when you get higher up, it becomes more about, it definitely becomes more about defense than it does damage, and this build definitely has plenty of damage. I was seeing like 17 million crits. I think I got like, yeah, so like 17 million I think is probably like the highest I got. I got like bigger crits if I was fighting like some mob that had like no resistances, but like I don't really count those. Yeah, so it definitely has a ton of damage packed into it. It has some decent ways to get fortified and stuff like that. There are some changes I would make to it, but let's go ahead and just go over what's in it. So you get symbiotic aspect on the necklace. This is to run with Nature's Fury, so when you cast Storm Strike, you can fish for Earthen Bulwark procs or resets. Then we have Crashstone aspect and Natural Balance. This is going to give you 45% increased critical strike damage, which yeah, is going to be pretty good for the Earthen Bulwark. We're also going to have way better access to Unstoppable by running this way. This kind of fixes the Zoo Druid's issues with Unstoppable, as you pretty much have Unstoppable like most of the time, I would say now, which is pretty good. Running the Cyclone armor, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with this, mainly because we're not running like the Cyclone armor aspect, and I think if you're not running the Cyclone armor aspect, I don't really think it's worth it. I think maybe going Debilitating Roar's better or something like that. Yeah, so, or maybe even Bloodhowl, because you can reduce the cooldown and you can get like another heal off of it on top of an attack speed steroid. I think is probably a little bit better. So that being said, that's kind of the main differences here. So I'm going to show you guys the way I have it set up. And so first thing is, I think Great Staff of the Crone is like, I don't know, to me it seems too insane to not run, because if you're also fishing for resets now for the Nature's Fury, I mean, this is going to get you the most resets, just hands down. It also turns Claw into a Storm skill, so you're actually casting like 2 Storm skills now. So like you just get Earthen Bulwark resets like mad. And I also don't think it's very necessary to run the rapid aspect. I don't think this is something you absolutely have to have. I think this is just I think it just comboed alright, more so than this being like 100% necessary. And really what you could do here is you could take this and put it onto your boots, and then you could take this and then put it onto the necklace, so you still have all of your damage stuff. You're just getting rid of Rapid and then getting Great Staff of the Crone, so then you'd actually have access to getting more resets. And this is also why I think the Earthen Bulwark has detracted from the companion identity, is because I think if you don't run Great Staff of the Crone and you're not playing for the companion resets, I think it kind of diminishes the companion identity of the build. That being said, right, you know, with the way I have it set up here, I'm not really diminishing the companion identity at all. I'm still able to get resets and stuff like that. Now there is actually a change that I think is pretty interesting to make that I didn't think of until recently. But instead of running like the Scythe Talons, like give up 5% crit, which isn't like, yeah, it sucks a little bit, but it's not like necessarily a huge issue. You take away Scythe Talons, and then you put Bolster on, so you can fortify for 15% of your max life when you use a defensive skill, and that'll actually give you a much easier way to get access to fortify, which would then make it to where you don't necessarily need to stack armor if you can get damage reduction while fortified, right? So like here, I wouldn't actually need to like keep fishing for different gear and stuff like that. Another thing I was thinking too is I'm not running the aspect of Natural Balance, right? And I'm still doing like 17 million crits, right? Like very, very, very much big damage. So I think that there's actually enough damage to where you don't need to focus on damage so much, where you could probably just get rid of, like for example, I could get rid of Edge Masters, move the alpha to here, and then move like Disobedience to the necklace. And I think that might actually give just way more defense, way more resistances. That was something that I'm thinking about trying out. I have to find some more Disobediences because I don't want to like totally wreck, you know, I don't want to like totally wreck. I only have like a couple of high roll Disobediences, so I need to make sure I have like another one so I can actually go back if I need to. But I definitely think that there might be something there, right? Just that focusing on using the necklace to gain more defense, because that to me is the biggest issue I'm having right now, is just defense. But being able to increase the armor bonus to go from 30% to a 45% stacking armor bonus, I mean that's quite a lot. Like it's 15. I mean, you're getting 15% more. You're getting 15% more multiplicative, you know, stacking armor. So I don't think that's too bad at all, right? And if you do continue to do the armor stacking method, I think the Disobedience will make it even better. I'm trying to think if there's like a better defensive that I could put on there, but the thing is like you can't put the werewolf defensive on there, which I think would be pretty good. The one where it says like damage reduction while in werewolf form, because you're just not in werewolf form a whole lot. So like go codex defense, it's like, oh, it's like I'm not really certain what you would put other than, you know, other than that. I was thinking about, you know, the aspect of Mending Stone, but the thing about the aspect of Mending Stone is that it makes your Earthern Bulwark take longer to get destroyed. It makes it take longer to actually go off, so it would slow down your damage output. So I don't know if that's going to be too great, but that's kind of my thoughts on that. Is I don't really think the symbiotic is necessary to be put here. I think you can just put that on your boots. You don't need this unstoppable one anyway, because you have, you know, Earthern Bulwark now to get unstoppable, so it shouldn't be a huge deal to not have that. And then you move Disobedience here, but I just don't know what you replace Disobedience with, unless you replace Disobedience with the Cyclone Armor one, right? And then you can run the Cyclone Armor thing, which is also possible. Another option is, I don't know, you could do like aspect. What's that one called? Hold on. Hold up. What is it called? Okay, so this is what I was thinking about. So, gain 15 to 25% bonus amount to your next Earthern Bulwark for each enemy you crowd control up to a max of 100%. This is actually a damage increase, because if you look here, it says this damage is increased by barrier bonuses. So I think in my mind that moving this to here and then putting that on might potentially be something pretty good. Now I don't know if I'm insane, but that seems like it could potentially be pretty good. And if you really wanted damage, you could potentially take Earthguard aspect and put it on here, because you're actually CCing people all the time. You have Storm Strike, right? So it's like you're and then the moment you just press Poison Creeper, it says for each enemy you crowd control up to 100%. So you walk up to a pack of enemies and you press Poison Creeper and you have this fully stacked with 100% maximum bonus, right? So that also gives you an even bigger shield too, but I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about. But the thing is it's still going to expire after 3 seconds as long as you don't run Mending Stone. So it's not like it's going to slow down your damage output, but it will actually give you a bigger shield. So there's that. So like, and there's actually something to be said that like if you could create a shield that is big enough, right, that will not get destroyed, right? I guess if you can create a shield that's big enough so it won't get destroyed in that 3 seconds, and if you can get enough, like if you can get like a maxed out symbiotic going, right, and you can actually get that, get it reset, there is an argument here that like you could have like a 10,000 shield, right? Because I think, what's it shield for? Yeah, it shields for 5,000, so you could have a 10,000 shield up like just a ton of the time. Like I don't know, that actually seems like it might be pretty good. I'm gonna have to test it out and let you guys know, but I'm just kind of brainstorming here about potential things that could be done, because I think that defense, and it also is interesting too, because since technically that should give you, like, even if you lose your offensive aspect on your necklace, you gain you gain the offense on your chest piece through Earthern Bulwark. So that's like it's just another thing I was thinking about. And you're also even gaining more defense as well through the Earthern Bulwarks. Like, I don't know, it almost seems like in my head that seems really good. I'm gonna have to test it, but like that could be like 200 IQ, or it could be negative IQ. Let's see here. Gain plus strength shapeshifting skills. You have 20% increased crowd control duration. I'm just kind of looking around. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking around to see if there's like anything else. But yeah, no, that seems like a pretty decent idea there. It would obviously play more into the Earthern Bulwark, but I mean that's fine, because like what are you losing? It's like, what are you losing there? I mean, really not much, and it could potentially make it to where you could actually run Storm's Companion if the defense is enough, right? If the 10,000 shield plus the 10,000 shield plus the extra 15% armor, because if you look at here, I'm gonna go outside here just to show you guys something here. I just want to go stack my. So it says this: it reduces physical damage taken by 39%. Currently. Okay, where's an enemy of any kind? Just to show you like how much it goes up. So 60, and now we're at 56%, right? So, and your armor also goes into your non-physical resistances as well for some reason. Don't ask me why, but that is how it works. It says non-physical damage taken is reduced according to your armor contribution. So yeah, so it went from 39%, right, all the way up to like 54%. I mean, that's not bad. Like, that's pretty solid. So then you think you add another 15% on that, right? You get it up to like 65%. And then if you like stack armor, right? Because like I don't have a bunch of like good armor stacked gear yet. But then if you stacked armor, I actually did find a GG amulet. Well, sorry, it's not GG, but it's close, because the game, the gods hate me. They almost gave me a GG amulet. This one has the +1+ ranks to companions, the armor, Call of the Wild, and the damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned. So like you add this on top of that, and you're getting 6.9% total armor, which would be then increased by 45% armor, right? Yeah, which would then be increased by 45% armor. And then you can also get armor on the helmet. You can get armor on the chest piece, and it might actually only be worth it to get armor here and armor here. I don't know. I'd have to do the math. I'm not 100% certain how the damage reduction compares to the armor, but based on what I've gathered, if you stack armor, it becomes way better than if you don't want to just put armor on like one thing. You want to actually like stack it and really get it rolling. So yeah. So I mean, it's an idea. I'm still looking for a GG helm and stuff. So definitely still stuff, but I think theoretically, I think this with armor, my helm with armor, I think maybe even my chest piece with armor might end up outperforming the I guess the basic damage reduction that you get here, just because of how much armor I'm getting from stacking all of that stuff. Yeah, so let's but anyways, let's look at the Paragon here. So I think the Paragon, I did glance over this, looks way better than last time I looked at it, that is for sure. So first off, we have human, so that's alright. You get 10% damage reduction on human form. You're never shape-shifting, so this is totally okay. We have wilds, right? Obviously, got to take that. Exploit, got to take that. You have heightened malice, which I think is pretty good. Over here, you took territorial. I think that's pretty good. Right here, you took spirit. I think that's pretty good. I think this is like way better than, at least in terms of glyph selection, it's way better. If we're looking at some stuff here, I think it might be worth it to come down here and get rid of 2 willpower points and actually go ahead and like try to like maybe max this out. But actually I don't know if that's really worth it, because you'd have to go through this. I'm wondering why you specifically chose, so I think it must be for like the fortified generation, I'm guessing. Damage reduction while fortified. You're picking up 10% damage reduction while fortified. The thing is that if you go over to like here, I think you can pick up, if you take this glyph socket, you actually have access to more dexterity, and you can get damage, I'm pretty sure you can get damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned, right? So I'm just not 100% sold that it's necessarily worth it. I mean, I guess if you want to get the fortified generation, that's cool. But I think, you know, one thing to do with the fortified generation is to get rid of the Scythe Talons or this 14% max life and just put bolster on, and then you should be like perma fortified all the time. Like I don't even know if you need to run like anything fortify wise after running that, because like you're just gonna have so many, like you're gonna have so many Earthern Bulwark procs anyway. Like you should be fortified like all the time, and it says 15% of your max life, right? So it scales. So like after you cast Earthern Bulwark like a couple times, you'll just be fortified already. So I'm not sure if the fortified generation is necessary. But other than that, I mean, I'm sure I could find something in here, but I think overall the Paragon looks fine. Yeah, it's like overall I think the Paragon looks good, not too shabby. Aside from I'm just not sure that this tree is worth it. It might just be worth it to go here and then just get the extra damage to poisoned enemies and then get the damage reduction up here. You might have a little bit more bang for your buck, because you could actually max out your spirit by doing that. Because I think this only has like 40. I want to say this is like a 50 dexterity slot. So I think there's like 50 dex around this one, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Stat wise, looks good. Yep. You know, if you're running all this fortify stuff, I think it's probably worth it to have the damage reduction while fortified. I kind of like the idea of getting rid of the distant for armor, because at least with the total armor, you're also getting damage reduction from enemies that are close. So like I think damage reduction while fortified might be better on that, just because of how much fortify you can get with this. Movement speed. You're not turning into a werewolf, so that, yeah, it's probably fine. Yep. Yep. One thing you can do here, well, actually, I don't know if I'd recommend you do this with this version, but I know with mine I was thinking about it. Instead of going crit, vuln, lucky hit, you get rid of the lucky hit and you go barrier generation. Because you get increased damage from increased barrier bonuses. So yeah, so that could actually give you more Earthern Bulwark damage, but I don't know if that's worth it with this, because you really have a pretty low lucky hit coefficient, so it's a little rough to do that. You know, you want to make sure that you're actually able to get pretty solid like lucky hits, so you can actually get resets pretty consistently. So okay, so let's go ahead and just hop on into, what do I got? I don't want to do a 92 or a 95 yet, because I have some changes I want to make before I try that, but I will go into this in a Strava, and I'll show you guys a 61. But I am going to be doing some more testing with it, because I definitely think this is definitely what I'm going to be doing in order to push to a 100. I think it really helps shore up the defenses and stuff like that, and fix a bunch of stuff, right? And the cost, really, for me, like the cost to my companions is about 60 or about 58% loss to multiplicative to my wolves, I think, is really the loss I'm taking for adding in all the Earthern Bulwark damage in defense. So I think that's pretty worth it. So you can see here, I already hit for 3 million with Earthern Bulwark. And I also think like when things have higher health, you actually end up seeing like bigger procs. Yeah, 3.6 million. You can see just blowing things up. Yep. Probably should stop casting my Cyclone armor. It's a little counterproductive. Yep. So that was a 9.9 million. That's pretty good. And I mean, for reference, you can clear 100 with like 3 million pops. As long as you can stay alive long enough to, you know, obviously continue. Because the biggest issue for me isn't really like the damage, it was staying alive whenever I'm trying to push up into these higher 90s. But I mean, hey, if I can, yeah, and you can see I'm actually staying fortified pretty good and well here. Ooh, okay, was that 30 million I just saw there? That's a 3.2, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't understand, like, it's kind of inconsistent in terms of the damage. Like, it'll do 1.6 million one time, and then out of nowhere it'll do like 17 million, so gotta be, yeah. All just depends. Okay. And then, honestly, at this level, so what do we get? 7.6 million? Like, and for reference, what I was getting with, if I'm just going all in on companions, the highest I'm seeing is like a 3 million or like a 4 million or something like that. So you can definitely see just how much damage this is added in for the price. And then I actually think if I do this, if I put this on, I actually have some more damage. See, and like, if you look at this, I'm at like 11,000 of 16. I feel like I could definitely stay fortified for quite a bit longer if I had on that fortify for 15% of my max life thing on. I'll have to try it out. In terms of damage, though, I think I'm gonna have to test it out. I'm gonna be putting together the werewolf companion build, where it runs like actual like shred and stuff like that, and like blurred beast. But I think that's probably gonna be like really the highest damage companion build I've played, at least. Because like pre-malignant hearts with no barber or no creeping death or anything, in the preseason I was like critting for like 40 million and stuff like that with that build. So we'll see, but I don't know if it was because of a bug or something. You never know. Like, you never know with this game. Like, it could not do that much damage now, because like maybe it was like a bug causing it or something with blurred beast. Hard to tell. Small indie company, you know. Small indie company. But yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel like doing that disobedience thing with the increased barrier might actually be super insane. It's like I had a barrier for 5,000. It's like, imagine if that was 10,000, you know? Imagine. And then another thing too is like, if you really want to keep like the symbiotic on the necklace or something, if you were really into that, you could also just not do the Cyclone armor legendary, switch over to like Bloodhowl or Debilitating Roar. Oh hey, there's a butcher. Well, let's see how this goes. $2 million. Uh-oh, I don't know if do I have the damage reduction to kill this guy? I have no idea. Definitely noticed the single target does not seem to be like insanely consistent. Ooh, I don't know, I might die. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Single target doesn't seem too great, but... But then again, you know, the Butcher becomes harder and harder to kill the higher up you go, so I'm not too worried about it. And that's also another thing, too. You look at, like, I was wearing Storm's Companion. That's another reason why I'm thinking that, I don't know, I'm just not convinced Storm's Companion's going to be something that you can wear the higher up you go. You just don't have the damage reduction that you need, unfortunately. Ooh. And I'm fairly... Oh, another thing too is that this, like, I'm fairly certain even with this build right here, if I was to get a Surratt Slayer, yeah, I'm definitely clearing a 100 with this. I did a Surratt Slayer the other day testing this out, and just... barriers are so broken in that because you cleanse poison. So as long as you're just attacking things and you're dodging explosions, you'll just cleanse all the poison and just virtually take like no damage in that dungeon. It's kind of obnoxious, but we'll see. I'm still fishing. I'm still fishing for one. Yeah. My Wolfie boys are going down. That's okay. And that's another reason too why like losing the damage to wolves isn't that big of a deal, is because your wolves will just die sometimes, so it's like it doesn't really matter if you're missing that damage. Because like the higher up you go, it's like depending on the mob type, your wolves can just be perma-dead. They do come back after a few seconds, so it's not like they're gone forever, but different mob types are definitely much worse for wolves than others, that's for sure. That is for sure. But yeah, that's it's pretty much how that works, you know. So utilizing Earthern Bulwark to really beef up the build, that is for sure. Here, let's kill these guys too. 3.7, not bad, not bad. And I've noticed that, and I don't know if it's just because of like a max health thing or something, but the higher up you go, your damage almost seems higher too, even if you don't change anything. I don't understand it, but like if I'm doing like a 95 or something, I'll just randomly hit for like 17 million. But if I'm doing like a 50, it's like I always seem to stay down like below 10 million. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Do not know at all. But that being said, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully I'll have some interesting updates here in the near future about this here build variant. Thanks.